That night, a heavy dread hung in the air. The house held a haunting stillness, a silence that weighed heavily on the heart. In the kitchen, scrubbing the remnants of dinner, I sensed his gaze piercing through me. My son lingered in the doorway, a shadow in the dim light, his gaze piercing mine with an intensity that was both startling and profound. He crossed the room, sat beside me, his presence electric and unsettling. In a voice barely above a whisper, he uttered 3 words that broke the silence and revealed a truth I wasn't prepared to confront. Welcome to the realm of emotional love stories. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe to keep up with our newest narratives. May you find joy in tranquil, soothing moments. My sincere gratitude to you. Now, let us set forth on the adventure that awaits within the tale. The evening began, seemingly ordinary. Ethan burst through the door, backpack hanging loosely, shoes abandoned in a familiar chaos. He had grown distant, lost in thought, but I brushed it off. He was finally becoming who he was meant to be. Boys have their phases, don't they? It felt ordinary. I convinced myself of that, at least. Yet that night, an unshakable tension lingered, distinct. The dishes were done, my hands moving in a trance of scrubbing and rinsing, lost in the moment. The refrigerator hummed, a solitary sound, while the clinking plates echoed, a relentless reminder that time slipped through fingers. Ethan hardly spoke after dinner, vanishing into his room the moment he finished. I should have reached out, asked about his day, but the week's fatigue was pulling me down. My mind drifted, caught between the dull tasks ahead and the haunting thoughts that lingered beneath. But then came the silence. It was not the serene stillness that followed the day's end, when the home embraced a hushed warmth. No, this silence was suffocating, weighing down on me as if I stood on the brink of an unnamed revelation. A storm loomed, unsettling and close, just out of sight. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and stepped into the living room, bracing for the sight of Ethan lost in his video games or deep in a book. Yet the room was shrouded in darkness, save for the piercing light aimed at me. In that instant, everything stood still. My heart raced, a tightness swelling within me. Ethan had always been the quieter of my 2 children, but this time, it felt monumental. The air crackled with tension, his gaze heavy with unspoken words that twisted in my gut. I teetered on the brink, caught between the thrill of the plunge and the instinct to retreat. Ethan! My voice echoed oddly, feeling like a stranger's. He paused, then moved closer, each silent step on the hardwood floor heavy with unspoken tension. His familiar confidence had vanished. The Ethan before me was a stranger. He stood there, a storm of emotions swirling within him. Distinct. He sat beside me on the couch, and the air thickened, the space between us shrinking, suffocating. He was nearer than he had been in ages, yet the warmth I craved was absent. It was devoid of the warmth between a mother and son, stripped of the ease that once defined our connection. It was everything, nothing more. A chilling disturbance. I faced him, heart racing, a whirlwind of anxiety and curiosity churning within me. "What's happening, Ethan?" I asked, feigning nonchalance, but my voice betrayed me, cracking slightly. He hesitated, and the silence hung heavy, taut like a drawn bowstring between us. His gaze bore down on me, heavy with unspoken decisions, each moment stretching into eternity. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he uttered a word. His voice barely broke the silence, a whisper that sent icy shivers racing down my spine. "Mom," he started, his voice heavy with unspoken burdens, a battle raging within him. something that had been trapped for far too long. "What's wrong, darling?" I breathed out, trembling at the thought of the reply. His gaze fell to his hands, fingers nervously tugging at his shirt's hem. He seemed to be mustering the courage to voice the torment that had consumed him. The silence lingered, and in that heartbeat, I understood that what he was about to say would shatter my world. "Mom, I have to share something with you." He finally met my gaze, and the intensity in his eyes sent a shiver down my spine. It was more than a teenager's struggle with words. It was a storm of emotions, raw and unfiltered. No, this was something profound. His eyes were filled with terror. Terror of me, terror of the truth, terror of the secret he was on the brink of revealing. That's when it struck me. I was utterly unprepared for this. My breath hitched, and I stood at the brink, staring into a dark, unfathomable void. My son, the boy I believed I understood completely, had transformed into someone unrecognizable. What he was about to say could shatter everything we ever were. It could transform us forever. In that breathless silence, he breathed out those 3 words: "Mom, I regret it deeply." The earth crumbled beneath my feet. My mind spun, overwhelmed by a torrent of feelings. "I'm sorry. Why? I regret the distance I've created. Forgive me for pushing you away." His words were a puzzle, shrouded in mystery, amplifying the chaos within me. I longed to confront him, to extract the truth, yet his gaze revealed that his words were merely a glimpse of a deeper darkness. My heart pounded, thoughts spiraling wildly. The silence that lingered was unbearable. The weight of those 3 words crushed me, breaking the fragile safety I had woven around myself, around our family. Ethan's apology was more than a confession. It was the dawn of a storm I wasn't prepared to confront. "What are you saying, Ethan?" My voice shook, yet I pressed on. Fear surged from my chest, intertwining with confusion and a profound, aching dread. With a quiver in his voice, he rushed to speak again, unable to contain the words any longer. "I never intended it, yet here we are, and there's no turning back. He halted, gaze averted, eyes scanning the empty room for a presence that eluded him. The air was suffocating, heavy with unspoken tension. The walls pressed in, the distance between us vanishing with each heartbeat. Then, as if the world held its breath, the silence came back, thicker and more oppressive than ever. What Ethan revealed, the confession simmering just below the surface, was merely the start. This caught me off guard. The truth hit me like a thunderclap, and I was unprepared. Yet above all, I couldn't bear to alter my perception of my son. And yet, I knew, deep down, that this moment, this night, would mark the end of everything I thought I knew. My heart pounded in my chest as I sat frozen on the couch, staring at my son. Those 3 words lingered, heavy in the air, carrying a weight I was still struggling to grasp. I thought I knew my children, that I was a good mother. Now I see how deeply mistaken I was. I barely knew him at all. "Ethan." My voice trembled, a mere whisper in the silence. The word lingered, alien and haunting, a desperate cry for the intangible. He avoided my eyes, staring at the ground, fingers fidgeting anxiously in his lap. I sensed his inner turmoil, the struggle for words palpable. Whatever he was about to reveal would shatter our world. "I can't find the words," he whispered, his voice shaking. "It was never my intention, yet here we are. I can't act like it never happened." My thoughts spun wildly. Countless nightmares raced through my mind, each more horrifying than the one before. What had he done? What was he revealing? I longed to touch him, to reassure him that all would be well, yet my hand stayed paralyzed at my side. Everything felt uncertain and doubt consumed me. Ethan, I need you. Please, just say something. My words trembled with urgency, a silent cry for help. I craved his honesty, his truth laid bare. The silence between us was suffocating, a void that words could never bridge. He inhaled sharply, trembling hands betraying his fear. After last month's camping trip, he started, his voice a whisper. There's so much more I left unsaid. I never meant to cause you pain, but now it's unavoidable. A knot tightened in my stomach. A journey into the wild. He was there with friends and their families, including his best friend's captivating older sister, Lily. I barely registered it then. I had trusted him, thought he was just another teen living life, creating memories. With every word he spoke, the puzzle's pieces clicked together, revealing a truth I wasn't ready to face. Mom, I don't know how to say this, he stammered, his voice trembling. Lily, she kissed me. It was a kiss that lingered, charged with unspoken emotions. It felt so real. I let it happen. My breath hitched, a sudden weight in my chest. Lily, his best friend's older sister, a fleeting spark in his heart. It was beyond my comprehension. Lily had been a part of my life for years. She was kindness personified, a respect that felt like the daughter I never knew. Yet this? I never saw this coming. My thoughts spiraled, struggling to grasp his words. Ethan kissed her, and everything changed. And even worse, he let it happen. So it was just an experiment, was it? Text, I asked, my voice trembling, battling the truth that this was more than a phase, a reality he might never escape. Believing was my only lifeline. Without it, I would shatter. Ethan's head dropped, guilt flooding his eyes. It was so much more, Mom. It felt alive. It haunted me, a mystery I couldn't shake off. Her essence lingers, a haunting presence that captivates the soul. It filled me with fear. I couldn't bear that feeling. I was at a loss for words. This new version of Ethan left me utterly bewildered. The boy I thought I knew had just unveiled a stranger within himself. Now I was left to gather the shards of a reality that felt splintered, like a mirror shattered into countless pieces. He pressed on, his voice dropping to a near whisper. It haunts me still. I never wanted to share this with you, Mom. Disappointing you was never my intention. I had to let it out. His words crashed down, heavy and suffocating, wrapping around me like a leaden shroud. His confession was achingly raw, a voice that pierced through his fear and shame. Though fury surged within me, a scream clawing at my throat, I understood that silence was my only option. He was my son, and in this moment, I faced the choice that would define my role in his life. What sort of mother would I become? Ethan. I did it at last, my voice quaking. Words escaped me. This is overwhelming. I know, he whispered, tears brimming in his eyes. I never meant to cause you pain, Mom. I never meant to cause pain. But She consumed my thoughts, leaving me lost in uncertainty. Fear gripped me. His vulnerability pierced my soul. His pain pierced through me, his confusion wrapped around us both. He wasn't merely recounting a kiss. He was unveiling a fragment of his soul he couldn't grasp. A fragment of him wrestled with identity, desires, and the tangled web of emotions that accompanied the tumult of growing up. I inhaled sharply, seeking stability amid the storm of my feelings. Ethan, this is everything, so much. You must grasp this one thing. Your actions don't determine your identity. You have goodness within you. This matters deeply. Connections and limits. They're everything. Learn to honor your emotions and those of others. He nodded, tears cascading down his cheeks. I understand, Mom. I never intended to cause pain. I only lost in uncertainty. I drew him close, the heaviness of his words wrapping around us both. He remained my son, the same child I cradled as an infant, the same boy I had seen transform into a stranger. In that instant, as I embraced him tightly, I realized this was a pivotal moment for us both. You're going to make mistakes, Ethan, I whispered, my voice trembling. I won't abandon you, no matter what. We'll solve this, side by side. You are never alone. He leaned into me, shaking with raw emotion. Forgive me, Mom. I'm lost on how to make it right. I pressed my lips to his head, my heart weighed down by the truth that everything between us had changed, and I was unready for it. In that moment, as I held him close, a fierce certainty ignited within me. We would confront this together. It would be a struggle, yet we would navigate our path together. This could be the moment that defines him. Just breathe, Ethan. It's okay, I whispered gently, one step, then another. Promise me you'll always be truthful, even when it's the hardest thing to do. Text. I swear, Mom. His voice trembled with feeling, and for a heartbeat, I questioned if he grasped the weight of his vow. We had turned a page where truth and empathy would shape our future. In that moment, his confession hung between us, a palpable weight, and I understood something profound. This was my son, and the truth, no matter how harsh, had to be faced. The journey would hurt, but it was necessary. As his mother, I was meant to stand by him, to steer him, and to love him fiercely through every moment. Though the road was unclear, our bond would carry us through, unbreakable and fierce. The room closed in, the air heavy with unspoken words. Ethan sat beside me, yet it felt like an ocean lay between us. His confession, those 3 words, haunted me, looping endlessly in my thoughts. Our lips met. A part of me ached to scream, to rage, to demand how and why this had come to be. Yet, I felt it inside. Anger wouldn't save me. The confusion, the hurt, the betrayal, each feeling twisted in my chest, a knot I couldn't unravel. My gaze locked onto him, grappling with the weight of the revelation. My son, my precious, pure son, had kissed someone extraordinary, Lily. I had known Lily since her childhood, had witnessed her transformation into the person she is today. She meant everything to me, and now, in an instant, all was lost. It was everything. It was the start of a tangled web, elusive and overwhelming. Why not? I blurted it out, the word escaping before I could catch it. Why didn't you say it earlier? Why not now? Ethan's gaze flickered, never meeting mine. He shook, fingers locked in a vice, knuckles pale as fear coursed through him. I never meant to hurt you, Mom, he whispered, his voice trembling. Disappointing you was never my intention. At first, I was oblivious, yet something deep inside screamed that hiding it was wrong. His voice trembled, and it pierced through me, raw and unexpected. It was a haunting echo of remorse. Shame engulfed her. That terrified me more than anything else. I recognized that look, a reflection of my own struggles when facing the hardest truths within me. I sank into the couch, thoughts spiraling wildly. What comes next? The question echoed in my mind, relentless and haunting. He was my son, my child, and yet, in this instant, he felt like a stranger. I was blindsided by his transformation. The boy I once knew, who sought my counsel and chuckled at my silly jokes, has vanished, leaving behind a stranger I can't comprehend. A piece of my heart ached for the clarity of days gone by, when life was straightforward and I could cling to the comforting lie that all was well. But everything felt wrong now. Everything had changed forever. I reached out, my hand trembling above his, caught in a whirlwind of uncertainty. I longed to soothe him, to promise that all would be well. Yet deep down, I understood the truth. It was a lie. It can't be all right. Not right now. So much remained unspoken, so many scars to mend. Do you wish you could take it back? The question slipped out, raw and urgent. I craved his words, yet uncertainty clouded my heart. A part of me yearned for him to confess it was a mistake, just a fleeting moment of weakness. Yet, beneath it all, I understood the truth was far more complex. Connections, heartbeats, and whispers, they defied logic. Perhaps this was never about regret at all. This might be his journey to discover himself. Ethan hesitated, his gaze drifting far away. "I don't know," he whispered, his voice trembling. Was it a mistake, or was it the moment I finally faced the truth about who I am? His words hit me like a tidal wave, awakening to a profound truth within. What was the meaning behind that? Could this be the spark of a greater journey? A part of him awakening, yet he felt unprepared to confront it. Was this merely a fleeting moment, destined to vanish as swiftly as it arrived? My gaze locked onto him, heart heavy with the weight of unspoken truths waiting to be revealed. I longed to shield him, to guard him from my past mistakes, but deep down I understood that was no longer my role. He had outgrown the little boy who once relied on my every word. He was transforming, emerging with his own yearnings, battles, and essence. My stomach churned violently. What comes next, Ethan? What comes next? His eyes met mine, and for an instant, the boy I once knew emerged, the one still yearning for his mother. Yet the doubt in his gaze was unmistakable. "I don't know," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm lost in uncertainty, but I can't mask the truth any longer." It haunts me, lingering in every thought. I choked back tears, words trapped in my throat. Is it possible to let it go? The thought was alien, teetering on the edge of impossibility. How could I ever erase the moment my son shattered a boundary I never knew was there? How could I ever act like everything was fine after hearing those words? "Ethan, I can't fix this," I whispered, my voice trembling. "I can't find a way to fix this. I long to support you, yet I'm lost in the chaos of it all. Lily has changed everything. I can't unsee what I've seen." The anguish in his gaze intensified, revealing the torment consuming him from within. He felt the pain deeply. My anger, my fear, my shock, they were all real, raw emotions, yet they failed to conceal my son's pain. "I never meant to hurt her," he murmured, his voice heavy with feeling. "I never meant to cause you pain, not you. This was never my intention." His regret pierced my heart. He was as lost as I was, grappling with the weight of his choices, battling emotions he couldn't yet confront. Here I sat, his mother, grappling with the chaos of it all. Perhaps, just perhaps, that held the answer. I didn't need to understand it at this moment. Not knowing everything was okay, I inhaled sharply, fighting to regain my composure. "Ethan, we will overcome this together. I lack the answers I seek. I'm here for you, always. We'll solve this side by side." His gaze met mine, a storm of relief and doubt swirling within. "Are you truly saying that?" I nodded, my voice a whisper yet resolute. "Absolutely. We will find a way." Yet time is all we have left. It will sting deeply. Together, we will face it all. In that moment, clarity struck me like lightning. The agony, the doubt, the terror, each a thread in the fabric of growing up for us both. We didn't need all the answers immediately. For the first time in ages, we confronted this uncertainty side by side. Silence enveloped the days that followed, heavy with unspoken thoughts. Ethan and I spoke less, yet in those brief exchanges, a deep understanding lingered between us. Uncertainty loomed ahead, yet I embraced the truth. Healing couldn't be hurried. We needed time to heal, to forgive, to mend the broken pieces of us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I watched my son on the porch, lost in thought, his silhouette framed by the dying light. His face was free of confusion, yet the pain still lingered, haunting the depths of his eyes. I sat next to him, our shoulders barely touching. Silence enveloped us, a soothing balm in the quietude. "You're not alone," I whispered, the words escaping like a soft vow. Ethan paused, silence heavy between them, but his thoughts spoke volumes. His hand grasped mine, and in that fleeting moment, we lingered in silence, the heaviness of the past days enveloping us. It was flawed. It was a struggle. Yet we could have mended our wounds, and that was all they needed for now. In that instant, I understood that despite the agony and doubt, our connection was unbreakable. It would twist, it would flex, yet it would never break. Love, in its delicate essence, always found a path to reunite us,